Hello, how is he? Hello, how are you? I'm Isoellen, and this is Isoellen's Stories. I am recording from home, and there will be a lot of outside noise. Ambient noise, is that what we call it? The dog is here. I don't know if you can hear him growling. People come in and out all day long. The doors slam, yada, yada, yada. And outside, there are other noise like big trucks passing and all this stuff that's happening. No, I have not invested in a sound room. This is a free podcast, and the equipment and everything I do is paid for by me on a very, very tight budget. So I don't even have curtains in my room yet. I'm working on that. I'm working on a lot of things, and I just want to invite you here with me today to read chapter 2 of Blue Blood, my post-apocalyptic story that takes place, imagine, if you will, 1999 Y2K, and all the computers turned the roll over, and instead of going to 2000 or to 2000 from 1999, everything changes. There's an apocalyptic happening as gates open all over the United States, all over the earth, and through these gates are dumped other realms, other dimensions, other worlds are opened, and everything is dumped on Earth. What do I mean by everything? Like Mayan gods, Irish gods, things from myth, things from legend, elves, things you never even heard of, aliens, just everything from the imagination that you could imagine is suddenly dumped on Earth, and everything. Along with that, power structures are destroyed, whole cities are moved and relocated. Everything changes. And in comes magic and paranormal creatures, and time changes too. Not in all places. So when I say other dimensions are dumped on Earth, other dimensions from other timelines are dumped on Earth too. This is a story full of possibilities. You could have anything. And one of the things you have is sorcerers and witches who deal in blood magic. The rules for their magic is they must have something to power their magic, and some of the darker magics, instead of the most ultimate sacrifice, is a willing sacrifice, a willing virgin sacrifice. And what rises from that is young women and young men manipulated into being virgins and giving up parts of their body. Imagine, if you will, that you give a pinky finger for a spell, a powerful protection spell, a powerful location spell, a powerful curse, a powerful blessing. And in this story, it takes place after claiming Starlight. And in that story, Sophie was also kind of a victim, a conditioned victim of her captors. And in this story, you have Margot, who has escaped her father, who was a sorcerer, who actually cultivated her from birth. And Margot was born, her parents met before Y2K, before Apocalypse Day, and Margot was born slightly before Apocalypse Day, but within her father's clutches, and he was grooming her since birth. As the child of her mother was a crackhead who left her, and with this horrible, devious, evil man who manipulated her, and she escaped that manipulation, but now she is trapped in her virginity. She's trapped by a spell that he put on her to keep his precious girl, who's got a little bit of mystical witch powers in her, but not really. She doesn't know how to manipulate him. Her power is more in noticing where magic is. And this is a world where humans are called red bloods, and uh, the paranormal, anything paranormal, is a blue blood. Now, Margot has escaped, and in chapter 1, you find her living in a bakery in the middle of a swamp in what was once Louisiana area, in a dense swamp, and but the rent is due. So this is chapter 2 I'm going to start reading here in just a moment. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope my sound is okay. I hope everything is okay. I am recording this in Audacity, with Audacity, hoping that you will listen and join in. Thank you so much. And after I read this, maybe I'll do a little bit of a life update. I don't know. I've been thinking about you guys and imagining that you care about what's going on in my life. So here we go. I'm going to stop this and start it again so that I can pull up my story. This is chapter 2 of Blue Blood. It's called, cheekily, The Sex Demon and His Girlfriend. You might hear my mouse clicking as I move things around. This is one of my second first-person perspective story, and is quite fun to read. The silhouette solidified into Kin no Shida, his sculpted features sharpening as he moved deeper into the bakery's dim interior. A halo of light clung to his golden hair. He sauntered forward, one arm possessively cupping the shoulders of his companion, Lisa. With a snap of his fingers, he silenced the telltale jingle of the door that announced the bakery's friendly blue blood customers. Mrs. P's eyebrows shot up, and she nudged me with a knowing grin. "Well, look at what the old cat dragged in. Good morning, Kin, Lisa," she called, her accent thickening with amusement. Sometimes I suspected she exaggerated it, playing a role, but I had no real frame of reference. Kin's smile widened, a flash of fang momentarily breaking the illusion of angelic perfection. A ripple of anxiety twisted in my stomach, and the back of my neck prickled with a sudden chill as a blush warmed my cheeks. The damn succubus radiated a potent sex appeal that made me feel incredibly guilty, as though I'd already committed some unnamed error for my father to discover. "Morning, Mrs. Piddleton. Beignets today?" Kin asked, his voice smooth as warm milk tea. Lisa offered a little finger wave as they approached the counter. I knew the beignets were Lisa's favorite, but Mrs. P only made them when a particular wind whispered through the trees and the Spanish moss danced like streams of lace. There was no wind, had been no wind like that for weeks. "Raspberry tarts today. Yesterday's sweet biscuits, swamp pearl comfits, and what else, dearie? I can't quite recall." Mrs. P nudged me again, gesturing for me to fill the gap. She knew blue bloods made me nervous, especially this one, and his particular brand of charm. I tried to answer, but my mouth had gone wet, pooling with too much fluid, like I smelled something tasty. Everything about Kin assaulted me with deliciousness. He tilted his head, revealing the powerful line of his throat. "I smell croissants, raspberry jam filling, perhaps." Every gesture, every word dripped with a calculated seduction. How could Lisa endure it? A stunning beauty in her own right, she possessed a timeless elegance that reminded me of pictures I'd seen of ancient Egyptian goddesses. Her sleek black hair and strong profile and fathomless eyes were framed by cinnamon skin that glowed against the flowing white cotton she always wore. "Yes, filled with raspberry jam. Margot here found a patch the other day," Mrs. P answered for me. Kin looked right at me, and I fumbled the bread dough, nearly dropping it to the floor. She ventures outside sometimes?" he purred in question. Unable to forward words without drooling, I pretended not to feel his attention, fixing my eyes on the ball of yeasty brown honey wheat dough in my hands. The blue blood treated Lisa with a possessiveness that suggested a relationship, yet his behavior showed he wasn't exclusive and wouldn't mind adding me to his lists of conquests. Mrs. P, unable to tolerate the silence, nudged me hard enough to make me stumble. Yes, now and then I send her out with a little something special to keep her safe from the likes of you." Despite the visceral reaction Kin's broad shoulders, sharp cheekbones, and glittering diamond eyes evoked, my father's gaze protected me from the succubus's magnetic charm. He was already scratching at his arm, and I knew a red rash bloomed under his shirt sleeves. I was safe from unwanted sexual attention like his. Yes, but not safe from being eaten. Mrs. P's something special was a ring of invisibility, a protection against everything except the relentless southern mosquitoes. No magic, potion, or sorcery could deter their full range of hunger. Safe from the likes of me. Is that an insult? His voice oozed with warm, liquid sweetness, as if every word were an invitation into his sheets. I bet he asked whose turn it was to wash the dishes in that same tone, every word an innuendo to something lewd. Conversation with him, looking at him, did not end well for me, so I shook my head, kneading the dough with renewed vigor. Mrs. P laughed and patted my arm. "It's all right, dearie. It's all right. Kin means you no harm. He can't help himself. I'm sorry if we bother you. Should we come back at another time?" Lisa's delicate fingers tapped the counter in my sideline. No. I'm fine. I'm sorry. What would you like this morning, please?" I blurted, desperate not to cost Mrs. P any business. "That's more like it. Tarts and croissants, please, 2 of each, and strong coffee. Yes. To go?" Kin finished his order, looking down at Lisa and speaking in a language that sounded like Korean. Lisa giggled at whatever he said. Was he making fun of me? But then she turned and hugged him around the lean waist, her head nestled against his shoulder as his arm tightened around her and his big hand opened on her back. The easy intimacy of their embrace sent a pang of longing through me. I looked away, focused on the dough, now smooth and elastic, ready to be shaped. I set it aside and dusted my hands on my apron. Mrs. P bustled about, filling their order. I could feel Kin's warm and curious gaze on me, a tangible caress that sent shivers down my spine. Why did he have to do this? I tried to ignore it, but my body betrayed me, my heart thrumming against my ribs. I busied myself cleaning my workspace, adding anything to avoid his eyes. "Oh, my, you've got a bit of flour on your cheek." Lisa disentangled herself from Kin and reached out as if to touch me and brush it away. I flinched, recoiling before I could stop myself. "Sorry." Her hand froze, then dropped. No, I'm sorry. I'm not used to being touched," I said. Kin chuckled, a low, velvety sound that seemed to vibrate through me. "That's a shame. Touch can be quite enjoyable." I swallowed, my mouth suddenly dry. He was playing a game, but my body reacted regardless. I'd be ramped up and aroused for hours because of this visit. The rich aroma of strong coffee mingling with the sweet scent of pastries hit my nose, and when I turned my head, Mrs. P was there, ready with Kin's order. As a brownie, Mrs. P could move fast. I never saw her wink in and out. She made things happen in a blink, a light at the corner of my eye that I couldn't quite track with my gaze. Lisa rolled her eyes at her companion. "Oh, Margot, ignore him. He's just trying to get a rise out of you. You, my dear, are welcome to a rise whenever you want one. I'm not trying. I'm offering." Kin's heavy-lidded gaze slid down my chest and back up again. More disconcerting heat flooded my face. I gripped the edge of the counter, lightheaded. The raw hunger in his eyes both terrified and thrilled me. Nothing would happen between us. He was a succubus. I was a human with a little bit of natural magic. He'd drink me dry as food and energy if he could, and we both knew it. This one time, my father's binding saved me. While I'd do anything to be rid of it, I wouldn't do a sex demon with a girlfriend. "Please, Kin, you're making her uncomfortable." Lisa, Lisa stepped in, trying to save me. Not as uncomfortable as she is making me, Ken said. You promised me Mrs. Piddlehinton's hot coffee while it was still hot. Lisa leaned into his long body again, capturing his focus. I watched his smile widen with an almost genuine affection. I did, didn't I? You earned that and more last night, my dear. The expression in Lisa's eyes was hard to follow, not matching the agreeable smile on her mouth. I couldn't interpret the exchange other than to guess whatever she had done for the succubus, it had cost her. Well, get that girl her coffee, then send back my good cups when you're finished, Mrs. P. said. While the bag was light, appearing like it only held a couple of things, everything inside it would be as solid and well packaged as an English countryside kitchen. Or at least I imagine that kind of kitchen to be, with linen napkins, heavy stoneware china, and waxed paper wrapped string-tied baked goods. Engrossed in each other, the couple left the shop. I don't understand how you tolerate him. He's, my word trailed off, searching for the right thing to say. Sinfully gorgeous? He is, and he knows it. He makes me feel young again. Gives the parts a little jig and tickle, you know. You are a great sport to him. His kind love him's the best, she sighed, like she wished she were human and much younger. Pause for dog barking. I may or may not edit this out, but just in case I don't, you have my voice here saying, I'm sorry. Where were we? Sinfully gorgeous? He is, and he knows it. He makes me feel young again. Gives the parts a little jig and tickle, you know. You are great sport to him. His kind love humans the best. She sighed like she wished she were human and much younger. His kind are deadly to humans. Yes, dearie, and what a way to go. I imagine you are the only human he's met that he can't actually touch. He might even leave Lisa for you if you gave him a reason. I'm sure he's already got her convinced to let you join them, she said as she grabbed a cloth to wipe down imaginary crumbs off the treat case we stood behind. I gaped at her, as if that wasn't the most scandalous thing I'd ever heard. Leave beautiful and sweet Lisa for a timid, plain, bound-up and cursed woman like me? Or join them? Oh, dearie, for a sorcerer's daughter, you certainly do judge others quite a bit. Never up for any fun. Mrs. P. turned and bent and stood again with a tray full of the comfits she told Kin about. I'm fun. The word sounded like a feeble protest to my own ears. Lisa's a beautiful thing. She's got a special kind of spicy power. Can't you feel it? Hot and dry like the desert? Yes, I guess. Never been. She's a strong one, Lisa is, not like those jealous, fickle fae. I don't understand why he's not content with her, I whispered with a strange pang of envy, tightening my hands and reminding me I had my own mess to clean up. Mrs. P. clucked her tongue, wiping her hands on her apron. Because Kin's a demon, dear, and those of his kind are never satisfied. They always crave what they can't have. Lisa is a contract binding. He's never fully content with that, and I don't doubt she wouldn't enjoy being freed from her contract with him. I don't think I want a contract with a succubus. No? Oh, there's worse out there. I'll never understand blue bloods, I thought of the raw desire I saw in his eyes when he looked at me. And you needn't. Focus on yourself, Jerry. You're covered in flour. Let me clean this, Mrs. P. said, patting my shoulder. I glanced down, seeing the dull brown of the wheat flour splashed up to my neck. When had that happened? I'll just change, I mumbled, heading for the back room where Mrs. P. kept spare aprons, and as I passed a window, a massive horse caught my eye. Even for a draft, it was enormous, its sleek blue-black coat rippling with power and shine as it picked a path through the swamp. Water dripped off it in sparkles as it moved with awe-inspiring, majestic grace. It was the kind of stallion that a prince from ages past would do anything to own. I happened to know that one or two had given their lives to try and tame him, not realize what they'd found. Kaleen. And that is chapter 2. I found a few ward Pete's. You got to remember that this is my rough draft. I've already edited it like myself 100 times, but no actual human eyes have gone through it, and they would probably see a lot more things. Word repeats stand out the worst for me, like overdoing it with Mrs. P, the Deary, some of the things like that don't really come out when I narrate it. Sometimes I self-edit. Oh, I gotta yawn. Beg your pardon. Excuse me. So, life updates. I'm living in a house. I told you that. We're moving into a house. I told you that. I have 2 storage units here. Did I tell you that? And one of them has been emptied and one has not. In fact, we took half of one storage unit and put it in the other, and then we're able to bring the rest home. I don't have all my stuff yet, which is probably a good thing because that means I don't have my craft supplies, and I am itching to get into my craft supplies so bad you do not know. One of the things I wanted to do for my subscription before was make these cool books and have you fill little pockets with notes and things from the 12 sectors. I think that would be so fun and so awesome. And I was on this trajectory to do it, and then my life kind of fell apart financially. Let's just say I was living in a household of 6 people, and I was the only one with a job. And I had to get 2 jobs, 3 jobs at one point, and it absolutely killed all of my creative plans and endeavors for my subscription platform. Why had that happened? It's a long tale. It wasn't necessarily, it just happened. Nobody was working. I was the only one able to work for some reason and keep a job. And finances, worried about the mortgage. You know, life happens. Sometimes life is not the life you want. So now we're here, and my job is to work on my writing career, everything in that writing career, and keep the house as best I can. We share the house a little bit, but mostly it's me. I mean, I make most of the dinners, the meals, everything, which isn't bad because I'm not a terrible cook, although I probably use too much butter, salt, and cream. I know. That's how Grandma taught me to cook. I'm telling you. So, life update. I am in Texas, and I will be going home to Washington for a week to help my dad out, whose 3rd wife passed away recently, suddenly, after many, many bouts of sickness. My dad is alone now. I'm a little bit worried about that, but he's an amazing person, very stalwart, and also not very emotional. Can you hear that tapping? There are 2 houses around me that are going up and being built and it's kind of like my house. They were moved here and so flipped, and they have to be put back together and updated somewhat so that they can be rented out. So yeah, that's my life update. I'm doing well. I really am trying to grab onto spring. I have a front-facing bedroom where the light comes into my bedroom, and I love that light. The morning sunshine, but the evening sunshine is the best. It's all golden and sweet, and it just fills my bedroom. My room gets a little hot, but I have an air conditioning system, yay, that works. It doesn't heat very well, but it cools awesome. So that's where I'm at, and I'm writing this story, Blue Buds. I'm sharing the audio with you. You can read along on my Ream and ink it, I think. Now, what I want to tell you is that I'm on chapter 6. There are some chapters that are public. That's for everybody. But around chapter 6, I'm going to start doing what happens next. What should happen next? And you guys get to vote. I actually had this strange email from a company that I think is in India, about that had this really perfect idea for me. I mean, literally, it was just, should I read it to you? Do you want me to read it to you? This great, great idea. Let's see if I can find it. I'm pretty sure it was sent to Coffee with ISO. Um, from a company. Where is it? I don't get a ton of emails, so I know it's here. Partnerships. A company called Crowdweave. Now, what I don't know is how they would take the money, because they don't mention anything in this, but it's, hi, we know how tough monetizing a podcast can be. If you don't have 70K plus listeners, ads aren't an option, and Patreon requires constant promotion with little guarantee of success. What if there was a frictionless way to let your biggest fans support you without subscriptions, without ads, and without begging for donations? That's exactly why we're launching Crowdweave, a new micropayment system built for podcasters like you. Instead of relying on subscriptions, you can let listeners pay small amounts to unlock exclusive perks. So the perks that for me that you would unlock for this story would be influencing the story. Let fans vote on plot twists, character fates, or special episode themes. Cameo appearances. Listeners can name a character or be mentioned in your show, or we could find a guest reader to come and read. You could even be a guest reader. Early access and bonus content. Give fans a reasons to support you without locking everything behind a paywall. I love all of these ideas. My one question is, how are they going to take the money? There are two ways that I know of, Stripe and PayPal. There might be other ways, but most of them seem to go through Stripe or PayPal right now. And while this content right now isn't super spicy, what if it becomes spicy? There's always a chance you can get deplatformed. They don't talk about how they're going to take the money in this email, although all the information is very cool. So I need to reply to them and ask, wouldn't it be cool if I could do the podcast and you could pay like, and I would probably do, I know, $5 increments. Why so high? It is high. I would do $1, but let me tell you, when you do $1 to PayPal, and I did that through my Kopai, PayPal charges a fee. Out of $1, there is a 45-cent fee just from PayPal to process the dollar. That's 45 cents. That is not including any taxes. Washington is a state where they take taxes. So if you're donating to me from Washington, there's a tax on that dollar. And it just doesn't make any sense. So even $3, because of the fees, I don't really get anything out of that. To get $3, I kind of have to charge 5. It's ridiculous, and I'm sorry, and I wish there was an easier way to do it. But that's what, so it'd be $5 increments, and you could vote, or maybe you could buy $10 worth of coins, quote unquote. I don't know. Tell me how this would work. And then for 3 coins, you could buy a pack of coins. For 3 coins, you could vote. How would that be? That would be cool. You could say, oh, 3 coins, I'm voting. And then you would have coins so you could keep voting. But that way, with that pack, or I could do $5, you get 3 votes. What do you think? I don't mind you giving you more. It just makes no sense to me for me to charge you $1 and then half of that to go to the service. So I would give you more content for that price. I don't mind that. I think that's a good idea. But the problem is the small increments, small charges just don't do either of us any good at all. Let me know what you think. It looked like six whole people listened to this. So if you made it this far while you were body doubling, out running or jogging or doing the dishes, which is usually when I listen to these kind of audio podcasts, or driving or cleaning the house or sweeping, take a minute, jot down a note, leave it to me on Substack, or I don't know. I can't really see comments anywhere else. If you're commenting on Apple Play or YouTube, I can see. This will be on YouTube. Just leave a note. Let me know what your thoughts are. Would you support that kind of thing? $5 for 5 votes? I could do that. $5 for a vote. We could work that out, people. I'm there. So let me know. How do you like the story? So now I've got two characters. I've got Kin Noshita and I've got Killeen. And wait until you meet Killeen. He is a each Yushich. I can't say it. Do you want to hear me say it? Okay. I can't say it. But you know what? Who can say it? Google can say it. Should we have Google say it? I think we should have Google say it. Oh, I have to Google it. Okay. Next time I'll be more prepared and I'll have Google pronounce the Irish terms in the story. I'd have to search it. It'd take time. There'd be a lot of silence. We're not doing that. So thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. I did record this in Audacity. Let me know if the sound is better. I appreciate you. Be blessed.